Once power imbalances are addressed with regard to money, we can start moving forward. My suggestion is we start prior to either moving in together or getting married, because we need to know what we're getting into. It's a good skill to practice before you are knee-deep in this cycle of money. How we communicate at the beginning of our relationship says a lot. I've heard people say, I always pay for everything. She never or he never pays for anything. Why didn't you say something? You can't keep paying and feel resentment and not tell the other person, because how are they supposed to know that you want them to chip in? You just have to tell them, I would really like to split this. My expectation of how we go about dating, who pays for what. People are so afraid to tell another person what they're really feeling because they either want to impress someone, they're afraid to say something. The problem with that is if you really don't want to pay for everything and you do pay for everything in the beginning, you're just setting yourself up for failure. The money topic and the money discussion really needs to start early in a relationship, or else people just don't know what the other one's thinking. If a date occurs, we keep going out, one person keeps offering to pay, they should do so with an open hand instead of a closed fist. Because when you're giving, it is not supposed to be with the intention of throwing it back in somebody's face eventually. Well, I always pay. You don't even open your purse or your wallet. I didn't know you wanted me to because you always insisted on paying. The question is, why do things change as we get closer? At the beginning, everything is just peachy. We have our little setbacks. As we get closer, emotions really start to surface. Resentment comes out, normally about money. My suggestion is we talk about money from the beginning so it doesn't pile up and then become an unbelievable task to talk about it. Even if it's embarrassing, another person needs to know the truth. I'm not saying you go out on a date and first date, second date, third date, that you start talking about your financial issues. I'm not saying that because that would be a little too much. If you're dating 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, and you're deciding to move in together, move ahead with each other, it only makes sense that we have full disclosure, because if I have a place, you're moving in with me, what are my expectations? Do I want you to pay part of my mortgage? Do I expect you to pay part of my mortgage? Do I ask you to pay part of my mortgage? What do I want from you? I need to tell you, because if I don't tell you, you're not going to know. If I want you to pay part of my mortgage and I don't say anything to you, you're not going to know. You can offer to pay some of the expenses. That's really nice. But in my mind, if I expect you to pay some of the mortgage, paying for groceries or paying for the electric bill is not going to be enough for me. I need to tell you what my expectations are. If my expectations are unreasonable, at least the other person will have a chance to say, that's unreasonable. I don't make that kind of money. Here's what I feel comfortable contributing. This is what my financial picture is like. I can't give 50%. I can give 30%. If the other person agrees to 30% and then feels resentment because they're paying 70%, that has to be hashed out prior to making the commitment. I want to work with you so I can help you see that we get ourselves into trouble because we just don't tell the other person what our expectations are. I don't know if people feel embarrassed, if people are afraid. In the end, it causes incredible problems. You can save yourself a lot of time and a lot of agony if you just talk about it before. If the relationship is not meant to be because you talk about money issues, then it's not meant to be. You can't just spring something on somebody later on. That is going to cause a lot of upheaval. So let's continue the discussion on money. We can get through this. It's not easy. It takes a lot of accounting and it takes honesty, and if you're embarrassed, that's part of what we have to talk about. When we get over that hump, then it's out in the open, and then the money issue is just not controlling your relationship.